Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking, and I appreciate your support. So first and foremost, man, they're still free. The Stockton mass shooting incident has not come even close to an end because the suspect or suspects are still running around the streets of Stockton, the Central Valley, doing what they do, right? Unfortunately, the first 48 is the first 48. And usually if suspects are not caught within that time, it's going to be harder and harder to catch them. Now, I thought that over a week's period of time, 2 weeks period of time, they would have already apprehended certain suspects. But I guess nobody knows, right? I guess those that know ain't saying shit, which is pretty alarming and kind of confusing with as much as that's going on out there in Stockton. Shootings continue to happen. Crime continues to do what it does. And at the end of the day, the people are still crying out behind this mass shooting at this birthday party. But community leaders have rallied together and they have a new plan. They figure if you cannot find out who did this, why not better than to show an offense, right? Instead of going out there and shooting back, what they're doing is they're going out there, these community leaders, and they're reaching out to all the different gangs in Stockton, gangs that they believe were involved or gangs that they believe can be preached to, right? Can be talked to. And they're asking for all these gangs to come together in the city of Stockton and sign a truce, come to some type of agreements, stop the violence on the streets. Now, I've seen this happen before. You guys remember the most famous truce between the Crips and the Bloods? You know, you guys remember blue rags and red rags being tied together during the Rodney King and the LA riots, that incident with Rodney King. An incident like that brought the community together. Now, of course, there was a lot of stuff that went on in the LA riots. You know, I'm not a firm believer in destroying your own community, destroying your own businesses. But at the same time, it happened. It's water under the bridge. It's part of our history, black and brown history, because guess what? There was a lot of black and brown folks that were involved in it. Now, the brothers rallied together as Crips and Bloods in the city of LA, and they said, you know, for this certain time period, we're going to let everything go. We're going to act like that old beef, that old being my op doesn't exist, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to come together for a greater cause. Now, if you think back, a greater cause, let that sink in. Because the way I was brought up in the gang lifestyle, and my mentality was the cause that I was making the sacrifices for was the ultimate, was the greatest. You know, Norte gang, that to me, that meant more than even my own mother and own family. And that's just the truth, right? And there's a lot of people that felt the same way because that was indoctrinated to us. Hey, it was the gang or the group above all else, above family, above friends, above everything. And you started to become conditioned for that, where you believed that, like you believed it was a living, breathing entity that would give something back to you, in repercussion or in recourse for what you did for it. You know, you fed this monster and this monster was going to give you a big old pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But that never happened because all that monster ended up giving you was a gang of time in prison, a whole bunch of victims, being a laughing stock or being shunned in the community, right? Or death, ultimately. You know, and that's all you got. Once you realized that was the great grand prize that you were seeking, that validated the point of stepping away from that or changing your life for the better. Usually most people do it when they have children. But a gang truce is something that's been popularized and prophesized and utilized throughout the years. And some people are down for it. Because let's be honest here, man. Even when you're out there doing crime and you're a gang member and you're thinking you're cool, once you get behind closed doors, and I know everyone thinks the same way, you're like, damn, man, I ain't trying to go kill this motherfucker, man. I ain't trying to do all this. For what? Man, I'm facing life now. For what? Right? Makes you start to wonder. Makes you start to, once you start rationalizing things and you start to think, it makes you really, really take a second look at what you are out there doing. But the city of Stockton is fed up and tired, right? They're tired of these gang members shooting each other in broad daylight, going to little girls' birthday parties to target people, all because of things they said, all because of the he said, she said, that he said. Okay, so now this incident has taken place. We can never get back the victims. And let me tell you something right now. The victims aren't the only ones that were victimized that day, that were shot, and the ones that died. But the victims are also their families, their extended families, the community, civilians that had nothing to do with that. You know how many bullets were shot that day? 50 bullets rang out, and them bullets could have hit anyone. They could have hit an innocent bystander, a child driving by on a bike, riding by, that wasn't even invited to the party or didn't know nothing about what was going on or know anyone. It could have been an old lady that was checking her mail. Could have been a mailman that was delivering the mail. You know, bullets have no name, and bullets are fast and they come heavy, right? So that right there, with these gang members doing what they did not think enough to realize that they were shooting a lot more, or shooting at a lot more than just the people that were inside that facility. Now, they shot children. Did they intend to? One never knows, does one? They may have. They may have targeted some of the children just based upon, hey, these are your parents. These are the people that you're in association with. You can get it too. That's the younger era mentality. Everybody can get it. They think it earns them a brownie point or something with the gang. But like I said, it's just a monster that you feed. They fed the monster that day. And what did they get? Now they're on the run. Now they have to fucking look wherever they go. Now they have to worry about if their old lady's going to pillow talk or go turn them in for that reward. Now they got people like myself on social media questioning, hey, what is this all about? What do you win? What do you accomplish by doing something like this? It's just an unfortunate situation all the way around. But the community leaders have got together and they want to have a truce. Okay? Stockton ain't going to go for that, man. Look, there's going to be some guys that may sit down. This ain't the fucking barbershop shop part 3, the next cut, right? They're not going to sit down and talk it out. They're not going to come to some type of agreement that they're going to stop killing each other in Stockton. Stockton's not built like that. Stockton's built different. Okay, the city of Stockton has always been built different. They have their own Stockton politics. Their own gangs wiggle their way. Okay, you got northerner gangs and you used to have southerner gangs. I don't know if Playboys is still there. I know they were there at one point in time. And then you have mixed gangs and you have black gangs, Crips and Bloods and Asians, and then even some Woods out there in Okieville. You got all this going on in the city of Stockton and the surrounding areas, Lodi, where UFC fighters Nick and Nate Diaz are from, right? You got a lot of tough individuals in the city of Stockton, a lot of righteous, real individuals in the city of Stockton, and a lot of good people in the city of Stockton. And this is a fight between good and evil, just like everything else is. And we're living in the era of evil. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's like right doesn't beat wrong. You know, good doesn't beat bad. Positive doesn't beat negative. Right now, negative, bad, and wrong is winning by a mile. Okay, but in the midst of that happening, we're losing children. We're losing loved ones. We're losing community members. We're losing the people that we need to continue the legacy of our families. Why? Because gang members can't see eye to eye over a street, a color, a word, you know what I'm saying, or a look. And that's unfortunate, but it's nothing new. And it's definitely nothing new in the city of Stockton. Stockton's been wiggling like that. So for these community leaders, it's a bright idea, but it's not the first one with the idea to have a gang truce. Has it worked in the past? Obviously, man. I put a short up like maybe a year ago, went viral, right? Did like almost 20 million views. And that clip, and I have it back up, man, but that clip in particular, when I did have it up the first time, it went nuts. I didn't even think it was going to do that. And it was a clip that I farmed. It was a clip that I found online. And I was like, hey, I'm going to utilize this because this has a good message, right? This definitely has a good message. And so in that clip, it was a gang truce being conducted in the I think it was the San Gabriel or maybe San Fernando Valley. I'm not too sure, down in Southern California. And it was two opposing gangs that had been going at it. There was a lot of death involved and a lot of blood on them streets, right? With these two gangs, and the community leaders and law enforcement decided, let's get these gangs together, sit down and try to talk something out. And they were able to do that. But you can see how temperamental in that room, how temperamental it got, how some of the guys were like, hey, we're here for whatever reason, but hey, you fuck up one time and we're not here no more, and you're not here no more. So it was more of a discussion of what their differences were And it seemed like there was a lot of differences in the room besides look and dress, attire. They all looked the same, dressed the same, talked the same, had the same dialect, same accent, and were definitely brown, right? But at the end of the day, there was vast differences in ways of thinking in compared to the other side. It's a trip, right? Same thing's going to happen in Stockton, only it's a little bit more different now. See, now most gangs think that it's laughable to sit down with your opposition. There is no more time for talking. There is no more words. See, the words were already spoken, and that's the reason why you're there in the first place. If people wouldn't disrespect each other, then you wouldn't be in that room in the first place. You know, it's going to be very hard and a lot of tedious work for these community leaders to even get these gangs to allow them to abreast them. Okay, it's not, they're not just going to be able to go into neighborhoods unless they were once part of that neighborhood or they had some willings and dealings with the streets and they're respected. You know, you got a person that's respected in LA, Father Greg Boyle, right? If you guys know who he is, he's the founder and very influential in Homeboy Industries. He's helped a lot of gang members get off the streets, change their life, remove their tattoos, find the Lord, like a lot of different things. It's all in the positive. And I've heard of people, you know, say Father Greg Boyle is like an angel from the heavens above, right? He's sent. His whole thing is he wants to try to make a difference in the community. He wants to try to help people that are in them streets that he knows, having been surrounded in them streets for a long time. And people fucking give him the ultimate respect. There's songs made about him, movies made about him. He's mentioned in a lot of folklore. He stopped a lot of gang violence. You know, he can't stop everything. LA's a big city, but he has done his part. He's played an intricate piece to that puzzle. And someone like him is able to walk into certain neighborhoods and gain attention, gain respect because he has already achieved that and earned it. And someone like that's voice will be heard. So it's going to take the Stockton community to have a Greg Boyle. They're going to have someone that could actually, right, walk through them city streets, having known them city streets, and that's well respected. And they even respect the fact that that person isn't a gang member. He's not affiliated or associated with gangs, and he definitely is not choosing and picking sides. Because that's what always happens. In these gang truces, one group feels like this person is favoring their group more than the other. And in that makes the other team seethe, man, the other side, right? It makes them boil, no pun intended. It makes them, right, start to think. And that's the problem with gang members. You always say think, man, think before you do something. But sometimes overthinking is too much. And when you start to overthink the situation nowadays, and even back then in my time, the first thought is get off where you're mad at. Bust the bus. Let it fly. Let's make this happen. Let's get it to cracking, right? Because that's all you know, because that's all you're taught. That's what's indoctrinated and bred and educated into you. Violence is the only way. But violence begots violence because it just keeps going back and forth. I think the community leaders are smart enough to understand that this was gang violence at the highest degree. Once children start to be killed mercilessly, once these people are willing to go in on a broad daylight to a party and shoot it up with no give a fucks about what's going on, no emotional attachment to children lying in pools of blood, that's when these community leaders are like, wow, we got an issue. We got a serious problem. It's getting out of hand. It's time for us to try to sit down with these gang members and come to some understanding. Well, understand this. Having been a gang member and being an ex-gang member, I could tell you, man, that's going to be a long road to travel with a whole bunch of speed bumps. It's going to be the rocky road, not the payday. Because a lot of the community's gang leaders got a grasp and a hold on these younger gang members, and they got it exactly set up the way they want it. Now, you got to understand when you become a gang member or you join things like this, there's that understanding that, man, everything's not going to be peaches and cream. Okay, everything's not going to be perfect all the time. Sacrifices will be made. And usually the people making them are the younger generation because it's your time to shine. It's your time to earn your stripes. It's your time to see, or for us to see where your head was at, right? I've been part of everything. The leadership in some roles, not a hardcore gangster fucking organization leader, but I've been in leadership roles within my community, within my gang, within prison, within the youth authority. So I understand how it all works. And then I've been a soldado too, someone that would take orders without question, or someone that will even question the order but still do it because I didn't want to get whacked. Hey, there's a lot that goes into it. See, a lot of these guys are going to feel peer pressure because there's always going to be a knucklehead, a homeboy, or older OG that's like, nah, fuck that, bro. We do what we do. We don't fucking listen to these people. these whitewashed people, homie. We're not gonna listen to them. We from our barrio, from our neighborhood. And that's just how it goes. Now, we've seen the truces in the black community and the brown community. Okay, but I'm gonna be totally honest with you. In the Asian community, and the Stockton community, which is a little bit different, right? Because see, Stockton, like I said, it's kind of reminds me of Sacramento, where they have mixed gangs and they have people that they have their own inner city politics, and that kind of trumps even the big thing. See, back in my days, North it trumped everything, trumped the barrio. You know what I'm saying? It was over the family, it was over everything. You know, if it was under the belief that it was going to further the Norteño movement and cause, not even the neighborhood mattered. Okay, for those of us that were locked up, now for those of us that had never done time, they would look at us kind of funny, like, "What do you mean, bro? We're from the barrio before anything." Okay, you say that now until you realize that you're flying up under a flag that means a whole lot more than them streets you're walking on, right? Them streets ain't going to help you behind them walls. Only this right here, and this is going to help you. And unless you're willing to sacrifice that for the bigger and betterment cause, this shit don't matter. But those that are out there saying that, right, are of the understandings that if they were never part of that street and never got up under that flag, that they would never be in the position they're in now. So there's a lot of discombobulation that goes on. There's a lot of V8 that needs to be drunk so people can get up straight. I don't see in the city of Stockton a truce happening with all gangs. I don't see how that's an option for them at this point. Do you understand that there's children dead, there's people shot that are part of gangs, not the children, but they're an association as far as, unfortunately, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But one of these guys that was shot and several others that were shot, right? Excuse me. One that passed away, allegedly, right? And several others that were shot were in association with being part of gang members. And retaliation is a must where we're from. Okay, in the Central Valley, it's always been like that. Retaliation is predicated on let's go, right? And so there's going to be, I'm sure, people that don't take too kindly to sitting down with the opposition or people they know that were involved with the shooting. See, the streets know. And I'm very surprised the streets ain't talking. And if they have, which I believe they have a little bit, you know, them arrests will come soon. I'm sure people have fled the area. People are fucking up out of there. Up out of there. Ain't nothing but a gangster party. Literally, right? They're gone. But I believe the feds and that reward money is very tempting. They're going to be caught eventually. I know some people are like, man, they ain't going to get caught. It's past the first 48. They're gone. Shit, when the feds get involved, bro, they don't care if it's 5 years. They'll snatch you. And that's their body snatchers, soul snatchers. And they will snatch you and put you somewhere forever. They'll put you in a little cell having you pacing. The bottoms of your feet will wear out before your fucking mind wears out. I'm telling you. It's a good thing for the community leaders to come together in the city of Stockton and use this this mass shooting, this gang-related shooting as a precedent, as a foundation, as a demo to show these people, look, man, you're killing our kids. You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself, Chewy, pendejo, right? You're doing this. What are you going to do? What's your next move? Make it your best move. Are you going to shine right and get your mind right? You know, if you knew better, so why don't you do better? But I'm going to be honest with you. The city of Stockton, because of the inner politics and because of the hatred for one gang to another, I don't see it working, man. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, you know. And it's crazy how people start coming up as community leaders all of a sudden. You know, people start rationalizing certain things or utilizing certain things to get their name out there. Hey, I'm a community leader. Where the fuck were you, bro? Community's been fucked up, bro. We need you, right? Now, 1 man, 2 men, 3 men can't change the world, but they can definitely push that motherfucker, right? And so I'm all for the truce, but I'm here to tell you, man, I don't think Stockton's going to sleep. Literally. I don't think Stockton's going to, as a city, just sit down and talk it out. You know, especially when if Norteños are involved or Mexican gangs, they're a little bit more, you know, the brothers, man, will at least sit down and listen. They will sit down and at least hear what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen before the brothers can take the initiative. They don't even need gang community leaders. They could do it themselves to say enough is enough. You know, that's why I always thought the black gangs, man, even though, you know, I was part of a Mexican gang, I gave a lot of respect to the brothers, man. I understood like they were the type to go to prison and want to get out. Whereas Mexicans, we wanted to stay, right? They were the type to know what they were fighting over, whether it was a color or a fucking argument. They knew exactly. They could tell you exactly why they didn't like that dude. He killed my homeboy so-and-so. He killed baby B, Brazy, R.I.P., M.I.P., DBP, right? They were on that shit. Mexicans, why you hate Southsider? Fuck them, right? That was it. You know, I'm not hating. I'm just keeping it real. We never knew. We didn't even, half of us didn't know the history of what we were fighting for. You know, if you asked the North End, it was all because we were oppressed because these guys took advantage of us. Well, first of all, let me tell you something, bro. You weren't oppressed and they didn't take advantage of you because there wasn't even Norteños and Sureños back then. It was just all brown people. Some happen to be from the north, some happen to be from down south. I don't want to give a history lesson here, but I most definitely could because I know. So it's going to be hard because Mexicans are more stubborn and hard-headed, especially when it comes to gang members, to sit down and listen to another man tell them about their barrio and what they should and shouldn't do. The brothers, I'm not going to say that they're more susceptible to it, but they definitely have open ears when it comes to things like that. I don't know if this truce is going to work, but it definitely, something needs to happen in the city of Stockton because there's victims and there's victims' families that are still crying out for justice. Let me know what you guys think. Just a little update on what's going on, man. I'm trying to keep you updated on every little thing. Thank you guys so much. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. I got another video coming up today that kind of touches on this subject of the Stockton mass shooting, man. Someone got their shit all fucked up. I wonder who. Bang, bang.